Yo, girls! Which one of you pair turned the bloody heating on? What have I told you? When you're cold, put a jumper on. We're not flipping rich, you know.
"12 seconds later."
One more degree shouldn't hurt, should it? Perfect. As you can see there, folks, we've plumbed in our new air source heat pump. Got that up and running. I must admit the Thermotec unit is a far superior unit than the Remora i9 that I was running previously on my smaller 2,000 gallon pond. When I installed that unit, we were at 15.9 degrees, and overnight it had us up to 21. So definitely far superior unit than the Remora i9. On the old pond, it would take it probably, 2 or 3 days to raise anywhere near that kind of level, and the old pond was 2,000 gallon versus this pond, which is 4,800 gallon. The old heater 9 kilowatt, the new one is 12 kilowatt, but definitely that is a far superior unit. Got it installed there. I've currently got it running on a 20,000 litre an hour pump, pulling from the bio chamber. That pump is set to run at its lowest setting, which is 30%. In hindsight, I wish I'd have fitted me 10,000 litre an hour pump on the heater line for two reasons. One, it would be pulling a slower flow through my bio chamber, giving it more dwell time, and two, the return from the heater is here, and it's quite low down below the decking, and I find that with a 20,000 litre an hour pump running 30%, which should be around 7,000, it's hitting the back wall and bellowing away from the skimmer, so sometimes bits of debris on the surface can miss the skimmer because it's got that flow bellowing away. So I think in the future I probably am going to change that to a 10,000 litre an hour pump and reduce the flow even more. I have reduced the pipe work down to 1.5 inch because the inlet and outlet on the heaters are 1.5 inch, and obviously that makes it a little bit easier a little bit cheaper really when you're building the bypass kit. I can easily just bypass the unit by turning those valves, and now the water will come up from the pump through this one and back to the pond that way. So if I ever need to just disconnect the heater and work on it or change it or replace it or anything, I can bypass the flow on it. So now it's going through the heater and back to the pond. Got the auto feeder currently feeding it 6 times a day, 45 grams of feed. Now that I've installed the air source heat pump, we're currently sat at 22 degrees. I'm going to ramp that temperature up to 23 degrees for the whole of October, and I'm going to increase those feeds to 9 times a day, just to try and extend the growing season as much as I can. I've got a couple of little ones in there that I want to get some weight on. So I've literally just had a delivery of new food, and I plan to feed 30% Saki Hikari Growth and 33% Saki Hikari Growth and 66% Saki Hikari Balance. So I'm going to get that on sort of 9-10 feeds a day for the whole of October at 23 degrees and see how we go. I'm not planning on covering this pond this winter. Over the month of November, I'll gradually reduce the pond temperature down and then set the heater to sort of 12 degrees over winter and keep it there. But for now, it's going to be 23 degrees for the next month, and I know a lot of people are going to ask me how much is it going to cost, how much is the cost of running the heater. I'm not really going to be able to tell you that. I will, when the Sparky comes to do all the extra work on the pond that's required, I will get him to put a meter on the heater plug, so I'll be able to give you a better indication of what that's going to cost. but all I can do is compare October last year with October this year, and look at the usage then, and go from there. I know I said I'm going to be feeding Saki Hikari Growth and Saki Hikari Balance. Well, guess what? I lied. I'm currently feeding Balance. That's what's in the auto feeder at the minute, and that's kind of what made me think of the Balance. But 33% growth and 66% the Saki Hikari Gold for a month. I'm going to try and get 10 feeds a day down them. I'm going to go and ramp this up to 23 degrees now, and start filling the hopper up with this food, and reprogram the the auto feeder for 10. I'll start at 9 until sort of, this is 28th of September now. I'll start at 9 sort of feeds until 1st of October, and then I'll change it up to 10. I am going to get on and do some water tests today, and see what the parameters are when I've been feeding 6 feeds a day. Just a word of advice, if you are using Hanometers, always do your nitrate first, because it takes forever and a day. There's a 15-minute timer on that one, so always do that first, and always give the vials a really good clean off before you put them into test, because a fingerprint, a smudge or anything can affect your reading. Just while I'm waiting on the results of the last couple of tests there, I thought I don't remember if I told you guys. Remember when we were at the Great British Koi Show the other month, me Tancho had jumped out, and one of the kids were battling trying to get her back in the pond. I'd had that Tancho, gotta be 9 years. Yeah, gotta be 9 years. Don't know if anyone remembers it. If I can find any old footage, I'll overlay it over this clip now, but sadly 3 days after we lost that fish, so yeah, bit gutted really. That's actually 2 fish that I've lost this year, which is more than I've lost in all my years combined, so been a bit of a poor year for it. So yeah, just wanted to let you guys know that if anyone was wondering how that Tancho was doing, we lost it. So anyway, go and check the rest of these water tests. Well, that's the water tests all done anyway. Everything looks to be hunky-dory. There is a slight bit of ammonia, but nothing really to worry about. It's probably only because I only put the auto feeder on a week ago, and it's feeding six times a day. Given that, I have upped the feeds now to 9 feeds a day, and that's where we're going to run it sort of next month. Pond temperature currently is 21.5 degrees, and I've just set that to 23. So I'll just show you this. So this is the controls for the air source heat pump. As you can see, 15 degrees outside. Pond temperature currently 21.5. I have set that to 23, which is pretty easy, you just type it in. And it's set to heat only. You can have it automatic where it'll heat the pond and cool the pond down to keep it at the exact temperature you set, or you could have it set to cool only. But obviously this time of year, I'm only wanting to heat it up. And you can see here the water temperature going into the heater is 21.5, and the water temperature coming out of the heater is 23.5. So it's quite good, 2 degree difference. I think that's kind of where you want to be. And obviously it's got the average power usage, but never really gets above, well, I suppose just above a kilowatt there. So it is pretty efficient. Some of you guys will have noticed my big Saki. You can see her side there. That's the one that jumped out of my smaller pond, my old pond. And she was a hell of a mess. She had 3 courses of antibiotics. I've had her out and treated that side multiple times, and you can see it's not as raw, it's just in the healing process now, and it'll just take time. She'll never be the same, unfortunately, but it's just one of those things, I'm afraid. So I've had the heater running for, well, it's been running since I think 11:45 today, and it's like 20 past 4 now, so what's that, sort of 4.5 hours. I've switched from the lav mic over to a shotgun mic on top of the camera, because I wanted to just give you a rough idea how noisy the thing is or how quiet it is while it's running. So I'll just take you over and give you a look at that, or a listen to that, should I say. So yeah guys, I think that's pretty silent. It hardly makes any noise whatsoever. I cannot stress how super impressed I am with this unit. So as I said, it's been running 4.5 hours, did I say? We were 21.5 degrees with a target of 23, so we'll just have a look and see where we are in that 4.5 hour period. So what I'll do is I'll check the pond parameters again in a week's time and see how the 10 feeds a day has affected me water quality. It won't be too long until we hit the 23 degree mark here, so yeah, that's it. Thanks for watching, folks. Take it easy. Have a good one.